Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, March 11th. Really two big stories going on in the world of weather right now. The major warm-up here in the eastern part of the nation will kind of peak today. This afternoon, temperatures should be up in the 70s. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, perhaps the upper 70s in the D.C. metro region. Stays unseasonably mild on Friday as well, but a cold frontal system will cause a couple of showers and bring in much cooler air for the upcoming weekend. Meanwhile, out in the western U.S., the big story will be a weekend snowstorm that could be a real blockbuster in places like Denver, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Really, that corridor between Denver and Cheyenne could get pummeled with some snow, maybe on the order of 1 to 3 feet. And that heavy snow will extend into some of the western sections of the Central Plains. Let's take a look here at the forecast map of total precipitation. This is liquid equivalent precipitation over the next 5 days as produced by NOAA. A couple things I want to point out here. This really tells a story here. First of all, significant amount of precipitation right in the heartland here of the nation. Now all of this out here will fall in the form of snow. This is a significant amount of liquid precipitation. We'll look in a moment here at the upper level pattern. Very conducive to some strong upsloping winds out of the east into the Denver metro region and areas to the north there, the mountains and the foothills, and that will lead to some excessive snow amounts. Notice also here, let's clear the picture here. Notice also here in the northeastern U.S., very little in the way of precipitation right in this region right here over the next 5 days or so. And in this region, very little, if any, precipitation over the next 5 days or so. That's partly as a result of a strong cold high pressure system that will take over during the upcoming weekend, produce a cold weekend in the northeast U.S. and chilly all the way down to the D.C. metro region. And this system, as it pulls out into the Central Plains, will tend to weaken as it approaches that strong high pressure area over the northeastern part of the nation. What remains of this system by the time it makes it to the mid-Atlantic region, let's say late Monday into Tuesday, will be weakened. Maybe enough cold air around for a little bit of frozen precipitation, but again, a lot of it weakens quite a bit with this high pressure in place. But here is a snowstorm right in this region right here. A lot of rain out on the warm sector of that particular storm, and not much in total precipitation over the northeast U.S. over the next 5 days. Well, let's walk through the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps from last night's operational run of the GFS. Kind of a split across the nation today with deep upper level low approaching the Southern California coastline and a very, very strong area of high pressure ridging aloft over the eastern part of the nation. And again, today's the temperatures will probably be the peak of this particular warm spell. Some records will no doubt go down this afternoon. 72 degrees, for example, in Philadelphia is in jeopardy. That, I believe, from 1977. And there could be some records all along the I-95 corridor with the 70s quite common this afternoon. Meanwhile, much colder already out in the Rocky Mountain states, in the lower 20s this morning, in places like Denver and Cheyenne, where we'll have a blockbuster snowstorm and a long-duration snowstorm during the upcoming weekend. Now let's move forward here in time here. Still, this is the Friday morning forecast map, still above normal, well above normal on Friday. Not quite as warm as today in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor, maybe in the middle 60s as compared to the 70s this afternoon. And there can be a couple of showers. Colder air will start to press south and east from southeastern Canada towards the northeastern part of the nation. And again, a much chillier weekend coming to that part of the nation. And here's that deep upper level low. Let's now move forward here and watch what happens. It moves right into the Rocky Mountain states by Saturday night time frame. And look at this, a very intense upper level feature here. We talked about upsloping winds here. Notice you could have a strong easterly flow right on the north side of this upper level low in that Denver to Cheyenne corridor, in the mountains in that area, in the foothills, and that upsloping flow combined with some strong warm air advection in the upper part of the atmosphere can lead to some excessive total precipitation amounts, and in this particular case, excessive snowfall amounts. And again, we're talking 1 to 3 feet of snow possible in the Denver to Cheyenne corridor. And Denver does get a lot of big snowstorms this time of the year, even into the month of April. But in their history, they've only had 3 snowstorms that feature 2 feet or more. That's in their recorded history, only 3 with 2 feet or more, and that's certainly on the table for this particular long duration event. It really gets underway Friday night and continues right through the day on Sunday in that part of the nation. Now let's move forward here. Watch what happens to this upper level low. It slowly weakens as it pulls to the east, northeast, and really a second area of upper level low pushes back into the Rocky Mountain states by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, could produce some additional significant snowfall in that area. But again, we talked about this high pressure ridging over the northeastern part of the nation, and that is kind of helping to weaken this system as it pushes towards the mid-Atlantic region. And by the time we get to the middle part of next week, you still have a significant high pressure ridging in the eastern part of the nation. So anything that comes out of the Central Plains into the Mid-Atlantic region early next week should be rather weak, even though there will be some cold air around, which could lead to some frozen precipitation. But again, not expecting all that much, as that high pressure tends to dominate the scene in the northeastern part of the nation. Well, let's walk through the surface forecast maps from the 0Z operational run of the GFS. And here's your classic Bermuda high type situation in this particular time of the year. We have high pressure right here over the western Atlantic. On the backside of that high, a very strong flow of air out of the southwest to the northeast. It's again the peak of this warm spell this afternoon in the mid-Atlantic region, the 70s quite likely up and down the I-95 corridor region. Let's now move forward in time here, and we see the signs of a cold frontal system backed up by strong cold high pressure over the northern plains by tomorrow morning. Can be a couple of showers, certainly not a heavy rain event in the mid-Atlantic region associated with this frontal passage. Still one more day of above normal temperatures with the 60s common tomorrow afternoon, D.C., Philly, New York City. Let's now move forward here, and here's the main player here by the time we get to the upcoming weekend will be the strong cold high pressure system over the Great Lakes. Northerly flow of colder air pushes from southeastern Canada into New England, into the mid-Atlantic region. Not excessively cold by any means, but quite a difference from the 70s this afternoon to maybe 50 degrees at best on Saturday and Sunday afternoon in the I-95 corridor region. And here we go, out in the Rocky Mountain states, starting to get together here by Saturday morning. Again, a lot of rain out ahead of it. We saw that area of quite high total precipitation amounts in the Central Plains and into the Tennessee Valley, the Mississippi Valley. That's rain, but out here, significant snowstorm starting to develop here. And look at this. This is excessive snow. Again, right in that Denver to Cheyenne corridor. It's a south to north corridor. Could 1 to 3 feet of snow up and down that particular area of northeastern Colorado, southeastern Wyoming, and rain out ahead of it. This is the late Saturday night, Sunday morning. A long duration event. That upper level feature kind of sits and spins for at least a 24 to 48 hour period, allowing for a significant amount of time with upsloping winds right into the foothills of northeastern Colorado, and again, very, very heavy snowfall that particular area. A piece of it comes on out here as we go into the early part of next week. This is the Monday afternoon, Monday evening forecast map. Still some cold air hanging on from that Canadian high pressure system that has moved south and east by this particular time. This is the Monday evening forecast map. Absolutely can be some frozen precipitation even into D.C. by the time we get to later in the day on Monday night. Snow is a possibility, sleet, freezing rain in this area, but it tends to weaken. Some snow could reach into southeastern PA. does not look like a major precipitation event. Something we'll have to monitor over the next couple of days here. Again, this is what remains of that Colorado system that tends to weaken as it pushes to the east. But a lot of cold air sitting around the northeastern part of the nation. Then another system follows right on its trail, and yet another system by the latter part of next week, probably producing some decent rainfall in the eastern part of the nation. We're talking a week away now, next Thursday, which is the 18th of March. So big weather stories. A major warm-up peaks today in the eastern part of the nation. The 70s quite common this afternoon in the Mid-Atlantic region, certainly up and down the I-95 corridor region, and a long-duration major snowstorm coming for Denver, Cheyenne, Wyoming, all the way in that corridor region between those two areas, northeastern Colorado, southeastern Wyoming. Long-duration snowstorm this weekend could spill out over into the western sections of places like South Dakota and Nebraska, but really kind of confined to that area. Farther to the east in the Central Plains, it'll be too warm, more in the way of some significant rainfall. But a major snowstorm out there this upcoming weekend, and a major warm-up this afternoon with potential record-breaking highs. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and all areas in and around the I-95 corridor region. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.